Okay. All right. So page 25. If you read on the left side, I told you guys if it was too much, there's quite a lot of questions today actually. So just cut it in half. You don't have to do all of them. I guess once you get the hang of it and you're comfortable with it, do every other one. The video will include. I get to do all of them because I just in case any of you are eager enough to do all of them. And I should have said something earlier today, so I apologize. I'm hoping you read on the website that I did say, hey, if you want to cut it in half, go ahead. But if you're not comfortable, obviously, I like you to get more practice. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Let's page 25. In the table below, list a set of rational numbers in order from least to greatest. Okay, so order it and least, and then so basically we're just ordering these. Okay, that's easy enough. So 1/4 and negative a half from least to greatest. It's a half, and then 1/4. Their opposites would be half and negative 1/4. Okay, opposite of negative a half is positive a half, and opposite of 1/4 is negative a fourth. And then you want to order these two in from least to greatest, and it would be negative 1/4 and then a half. Okay. So 2 and negative 10, order those two numbers from least to greatest. Negative 10 is always, of course, the smallest. Negative 10 and then 2. Their opposites are 2 and negative 2. And if I want to order those two from least to greatest, it would be negative 2 and 10. 0 and 3.5 from least to greatest is 0 and 3.5. Their opposites are 0 and negative 3.5. And if I want to order those two numbers, it would be negative 3.5 and 0. Negative 5 and negative 5.6. Okay, if I want to order them from least to greatest, negative 5.6 is a smaller number, and then it's negative 5. Their opposites are 5.6, positive, and 5. And if I want to order those two from least to greatest, it's 5 first, and then 5.6. Okay. 24.5 and 24. Obviously, 24 is a smaller number, and then 24.5. Their opposites are negative 24 and negative 24.5. And those two numbers from least to greatest, the least number would be 24.5 and then negative 24. 99 and 99.9 negative 100. Small from least to greatest, this is the smaller one. And then negative 99.9. Their opposites are 100 and 99.9. And from least to greatest, it would be 99.9 and to 100. Next one, negative 0.05. And so the smaller number would be negative 0.5. And then the bigger number would be negative 0.05. Okay. And their opposite would be 0.5 and 0.05. And 0.05 or 5 cents would be the smaller number, and 0.5, 50 cents would be the bigger number. Last one, 102.02 is a smaller number, and the bigger number is 100.04. Their opposite would be negative 100.02, and negative 100.04. Okay, and between those two numbers, the smaller one is negative 100.04, and the bigger number would be negative 100.02. Okay, is there any patterns that I noticed between the second and fourth columns? They're opposite. They're reversed. Okay. Well, yeah, the order is reversed. Okay. And what else? Page. Forget what page is next. 28. Okay, let's go to page 28. 28, 38. Okay, 28, 38 to 41. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, in the table below, list each set of rational numbers from greatest to least. Okay, farthest right on the number line, and then state which number is far. Okay, so let's try number 1. So number 1, 38.41. Number 1 is the order from greatest to least. Well, the greatest number is negative 1.75, and the smaller number is negative 3.25. Okay, greatest to least. Okay, and farthest right on the number line. The number farthest right on the number line is negative 1.75, and the number farthest left on the number line would be negative 3.25. Okay, so let me just put this on a number line. Okay, I'll do the first couple. Here is, make 0 here, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and let's extend our number line and make that negative 4. So, negative 1.75 is right about here, and negative 3.25 is about here. Okay, so order from greatest to least. Remember, the further you are to the right, the bigger the number. So this is the bigger number because it's more on the right side than this number. Okay, so, and the number furthest on the right is obviously, just like I said, negative 1.75, and the number farthest, not furthest, farthest on the left is negative 3.25. Okay, so if you ever have a confusion as to which number is bigger, put both numbers on the number line. The number on the right will always be greater than the number on the left. Okay, and negative 7, you know what, I'll do number lines for a few of these. Okay, so on the number line, negative 9 will be here, and negative 0.7, 9.7 will be here. Okay, this would be 10, negative 10, and this is negative 8. So here are my two numbers. I'll put an X here and an X here. Greatest number between these two is this one because it's on the right, and the small number is this one because it's on the left. And that answers questions on column 3 and 4. Okay, so for the rest of them, if you want to put them on the number line, makes life easier. You can actually see. So I'll do one more here. So here's 0. Here's 1, the number 1, and then 4/5 is about here. Not exactly 1, but here. Let's make a X for both spots. Greatest to least. The greatest number, I'm sorry, we're not doing 1, we're doing, you're comparing 4/5 and 1 and 0. So you're talking about these two positions, 4/5 and 0. So, greatest to least, 4/5 is obviously the bigger number. 0 is a small number. Which one's farthest on the right? The number on the right in this case is 4/5, and the number on the left in this case is 0. Okay, so if you have to compare, the number on the right will always beat the number on the left. Okay, and let's just do the other one. So without number lines, hopefully you get the point. So negative 70 t. Okay, and you know what? I'm not gonna draw the whole number line, but I'll just draw like this. Okay, no, that's negative 70, and negative 70 and 4/5 is a little bit to the left of it. So, from order from least to greatest, greatest to least, this is the biggest one, and this is the smaller number. Number on the right is negative 70, and number on the left is negative 70 and 4/5. Is that my phone? No. Okay. Next one. Here's negative 5. Here's negative 15. Okay, which one's the bigger number? This one. Which is the small number? This one. Right? Negative 5 is on the right, and negative 15 is on the left. Half. Okay, if that's 0, that's 1. This would be half. And negative 2 somewhere over here. Okay, so we're comparing this number and this number. Which one is the bigger number? Half. Which one is the small number? Negative 2. Okay. And to answer columns 3 and 4, okay, half is on the right and negative 2 is on the left. Ooh, now we have 3 numbers. Yay. Let's see. If that was a number line, how would I put them? Okay. If this is negative 99, this would be negative 99.3. Somewhere around here would be negative 100. Okay, so in order from greatest to least, greatest number, second greatest, and the smallest out of the three. Which one's on the furthest right would be this one, furthest left would be this one. Okay, negative 100. Moving on. Next one. So this is 0, that's 1, and 0.5, which is half, that's one of the numbers that we're talking about. And the other number is a very tiny number, which is right about here. Okay, 0.05, very small number. All right, so which one is the bigger number? 0.5. Small number, 0.05. Okay. Let's see, 0, okay, I'm not going to write this down. So here we go. Again, number line. That's 0. And we got negative 1 over here. And negative 3/4 would be somewhere around here. And you got 1/4. Let's make that 1, and 1/4 would be about here. Numbers you're interested are these. 3 numbers here. Putting an X. So 1/4 is the biggest, 0 is the second, and negative 3/4 is the last. Okay, how do I know which one is the biggest? The number on the farthest right, 1/4, and farthest left is negative 3/4. Okay, finally the last one. Very, very tiny numbers. That's 0 and that's 1. Okay, negative 1, I'm sorry. So negative 0.2, negative 0.02, which is probably even less than that. Okay, and right next to it is negative 0.04. Right, so you got two numbers. The bigger one is negative 0.02. The bigger, small one is negative 0.04. Okay, the number on the right again beats the other one. All right, so for each row, describe the relationship between what? Describe the relationship in column 3 and its order in column 2. Column 3 and order in column 2. Okay, the number farthest on the right will always be the bigger number. Okay, that's the relationship. Okay. And, I just lose it. I lost it. No, I lost it. No, yes. Okay. And then for each row, describe the relationship between the number in column 4 and the order in column 2. The number on column 4, the number farthest on the left will always be the smaller number. Okay, so if two rational numbers a and b are ordered such that a is less than b, then what must be true about the order for their opposites? So a is less than b. So let's see what that means. So if you have two numbers, okay, a number line, and a is less than b. So let's make b over here and a over here. Okay, so I know that b is bigger than a. Then what must be true about the order of their opposites? Well, like make this 0. Well, their opposites, obviously a is about, negative a is about here, negative b is about here. Well, it means that with their opposites, okay, negative b is going to be the smaller number and negative a is going to be the bigger number. Okay? If you don't like, you know what, a better example is for you to actually pick two numbers. Okay, instead of using a and b, pick two numbers. So as long as a is a small number. So let's call a, and you can make any number you know. So let's make a 2 and b 5. Here's 0, here's 2, and here's 5. Okay, so a is less than b, 2 is less than 5. Okay, let's talk about their opposites. Opposite of 2 is negative 2, and opposite of 5 is negative 5. So when they're both positive, 5 is the bigger number. When they're both negative, negative 5 is a smaller number. Okay? 28, and I think the next page now is, I have no idea, 38? No. 38 to 41. Got it. 38 to 41. And let's go to 38. 38. Let's see what's happening over there. All right, so we're dealing with absolute value. Let's see what happens here. And no. Here. Okay, the absolute value, okay, just to review, is the distance a number is away from 0, okay? And what's the question here? What under, all right, so the absolute value of 10 is 10. What other number is 10 spaces away from 0? The only other number would be negative 10. If you took the absolute value of negative 10, it's also 10, because negative 10 is also 10 spaces away from 0. Okay? 39. Hang on a second. All right, so complete the chart. Number 6, negative 6. The absolute value of negative 6 is just 6. Number line diagram. For a number line diagram, let's see what they want. Okay, for a number line diagram, which means, wish I could draw over there, that here's negative 6, here's 0, and it's just 6 spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what you can show. And a different number with the same absolute value. So what other number is 6 spaces away from 0? Would be this number right here, 6. Okay. Next one, 8. The absolute value of 8 is 8 because 8 spaces away from 0, so you can draw that. That's 0, that's 8, and that's 8 spaces away from 0. Okay. And what other number is 8 spaces away from 0? It would be the opposite of 8, which is negative 8. And negative 8 is also 8 spaces away from 0. Finally, bottom one, negative 1. Here's negative 1. Negative 1 is exactly 1 space away from 0. What's another number that is 1 space away from 0? That would be 1. Okay. Mrs. Owens received a call from her bank because she had a checkbook balance of negative $45. Okay, so she had a checkbook balance of negative $5, so she's owing. What was the magnitude of the amount withdrawn? So basically, overdrawn, I'm sorry. They're asking for this, which is 45. So how much is she in debt? 45. Okay, which is the amount that she has to, pay back. Okay, so we're talking about magnitude is the quantity. Oh, that's right. Look at that. The magnitude of a quantity is found by taking the absolute value. Huh. All right. So Jeff owes his friend $5. Okay. How much is Jeffrey's debt? Would be $5. This is kind of redundant, don't you think? Yeah. On page 40. Page 40. Let's see if we can. No. Here we go. The elevation of Niagara Falls, which is located between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, is 326 feet. How far is this above sea level? Well, you take the absolute value. So the elevation. Okay. This is a sea, and here's Niagara Falls. Okay. The elevation of Niagara Falls. Okay, so sea level is usually 0. Okay, so what is this magnitude over here? You take the absolute value. How far is this to sea level, which is 326 feet? Is that what we're talking about? Yes, feet. So absolute value of 326 is just simply 326. How far below 0 is negative 16? Wow, these are really easy questions. How far below 0 is negative 16? And that would be 16. Okay, that's how far below 0 it is. All right. Okay. This is, for those of you and I'll leave it at that. Okay. All right, so next, Frank received a monthly statement for his college savings account. It listed a deposit of 100 as plus 100, okay, a withdrawal of 25 as negative 25. The statement showed an overall ending balance of 835. How much money did Frank add to his account that month? How much did he take out? What is the total amount Frank has saved for college? What? He received a monthly statement. Okay, he deposited 100. So he put 100. He took 25, so has 75. And then, okay, so he deposited 100. He took 25, which means he now has 75. And then he ended up with 835. Jeez. So how much more did he deposit? Well, he deposited difference between, obviously. So he put 100 in. Then he took 25 out, which means he has 75. And then somehow he ended up with $835.50. So how much did he add? What's our mystery number over here? Okay, you can figure that out. Or I can figure it out. Okay, so he added a 50. That would be a 0. That would be 6, and that would be a 7. Did I write? 7, 6 is 13, goes 1. Yep, so he added $760.50. Meg's playing a card game with her friend Iona. Positive, negative printed on them. The absolute value of the number of my card equals 8. What is the number of Meg's card? So, for this one, her card can be two numbers. Her card can either be 8, that I don't seem to be able to write, 8, or negative 8. Okay, so Meg's card can either be 8 or negative 8. List a positive and negative number whose absolute value is greater than 3. Well, let's see. 5. 5 and negative 5. The absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is also 5. Are they both greater than 3? Yes, it is. Okay. Explain how to justify your answer using the number line. Alright, I'm thinking that this is something like this. My magical number line. Here we go. Okay. 0, that's 5. That's negative 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my absolute value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my absolute value. Both of them are greater than 3. Okay? And I thought this was going to be a lot. It's not that much. Sort of. I guess. Sorry. Maybe it is. I don't know. Okay, so which of the following situations can be represented by the absolute value of 10? The temperature is 10 degrees below 0. Express this as an integer. No. Express this as an integer would be negative 10. Determine the size of Harold's debt if he owes $10. The size of his debt is $10. You can use that, the absolute value of 10 for that one. Determine how far negative 10 is from 0 on the number line. You can use the absolute value of 10 for that one. And 10 degrees is how many degrees above 0. You can also use the absolute value of 10 for that. Julia used absolute value to find the distance between 0 and 6 on the number line. She wrote a similar statement to represent the distance between 0 and negative 6. Below is her work. Is it correct? Explain. The absolute value of 6 equals 6. And the absolute value of negative 6 equals negative 6. The first part is correct. Okay, the absolute value of 6 is 6 because 6, the number positive 6 is 6 units, steps from 0. Okay, if you had to walk back from 6 to 0, you would take 6 steps. And the second part is incorrect because she wrote negative 6. If you're standing on top of negative 6 and you're walking back to 0, you have to take 6 steps. Remember, distance cannot be 0 here. All right, so you can't walk -6 steps to go to 0. You're walking 6 steps to walk to 0. Okay. And I think we have one more page. Yay. Use absolute value to represent the amount in dollars of a profit. Okay. And the profit in this case would just be $238.25. Judy lost 15 pounds. Use the absolute value to represent. So the number of pounds Judy lost. She lost 15 pounds. Not really liking the questions here. In math class, Carl and Angela are debating about integers and absolute value. Carl said 2 integers can have the same absolute value, and Angela said 1 integer can have 2 absolute values. Who's right? Defend your answer. Okay. Okay. Finally, a better question. Let's say Carl said 2 integers can have the same absolute value. That's correct. -8 is an integer, and so is 8 is an integer. Can they both have the same absolute value? Right. Yes, they can. Absolute value of -8 and absolute value of 8, they both is 8. Now, and the other, the girl said 1 integer can have 2 absolute values. Well, let's take any integer. 7. It's an integer. Can 7, if I take the absolute value of 7, can it give me 2 different values? No, it cannot. 7 is 7 steps away from 0. Okay, so the absolute value of 7 is just 7. It cannot have two values. Okay. Jamie told his math teacher, give me any absolute value and I can tell you 2 numbers that have that absolute value. Is Jamie correct? For any given absolute value, will there always be 2 numbers that have the same absolute value? I think he is. Well, give me an absolute value. Well, let's see. The absolute value of a number is 3. So let's say the absolute value of number is 3. What are the 2 numbers that you can take the absolute value of to give you 3? One would be -3, because -3 is 3 steps away from 0. And the other one would be +3, because +3 is 3 steps away from 0. So, I think it's right. If you give him any absolute value, he can come up with 2 values, okay, that have that absolute value. Very nice, Jamie. Use the number line to show why a number and its opposite have the same absolute value. Guys, they don't give you the number, so the easiest is pick a number. Okay, so if you ever have a question like this when your number is not given, create a number. So that's 0, and let's make our number 5. Well, let me lose a lower number. Let's make our number 2. Opposite of 2 is -2. Let's use a number line to prove that 2 and -2 have the same absolute value. Here's 2. Here's -2. 2 is 1, 2 spaces away to 0, and -2 is 1, 2 spaces away from 0. So they both share the same distance to go to 0, which is 2. Okay? And, oh, there's a couple more. Okay, come on. Oh, not that, not that, not that, not that. I think a bank teller assisted 2 customers with transactions. One customer made a $225 withdrawal from a savings account. The other made a $15 deposit. Use absolute value to show the size of each transaction. Which transaction involved more money? Really? Okay. Well, she made a withdrawal. Okay. Withdrawal means taking out money. So usually represented by the integer -25. So, but the size of her transaction involved $25. The other one made a deposit. Deposit is usually plus an integer, +15, and it involved $15. This is the size of the transaction. Which one involved more money? Well, this one. The withdrawal of $25 had more money in the transaction. Okay? Very simple question. And we have one more. Which is farther from 0? Negative 7 3/4 or 7 1/2? Well, negative 7 3/4 or 7 1/2. All right. If you don't like the fractions, you can change it to decimals. This is negative 7.75, and this is 7.5. Take the absolute value of either of all of them. If you want fraction format or decimal format, doesn't matter, your choice. I'm just giving you options. Okay, so as a fraction, the absolute value is 7 3/4. Okay, and the absolute value of 7 1/2 is 7 1/2. Okay, so who's further away from 0? This number right here is further away. It would take him more steps to go back to 0 than 7 1/2. Okay, and that's that. That was simple. It wasn't that much. So let me save this, and it'll be up in about 20 minutes.